Hello student, today we're going to learn how to factor by grouping with four terms or factoring in pairs. So first of all, we are going to take a look at this, okay? We are going to break it up in pairs, which means usually the first two and the last two, okay? So here we go, we factor in these together and then these two together, okay? The sign between them is still gonna be a subtract right here. Okay, so first we want to look at each of the pair right here. So xy minus 5y, we're going to have the the y is repeating on both of them. So we're going to have factor out the y. In other words, you can divide each of them by y, okay? So factor out the y here. You're going to have x. And this one, you factor out the y, it will give you the 5. So we have y times x minus 5. Next, we're going to look at the second pair. We have negative 2x plus 10. So since that's a negative in front, we are going to factor out the negative as well, okay? So each of them, let's divide by negative. Also, 2 goes to 2 and 2 go to 10. So we're going to factor out the 2 from each of them. All right, so we're going to bring that to minus 2 here. And then let's go ahead and divide. So negative 2x divided by 2x will give you x. 10 divided by negative 2 will give you negative 5. So bring it out. And now let's take a look carefully at our factors. So here we have y times x minus 5 minus 2 times x minus 5. So x minus 5 and x minus 5 is exactly the same. So this is it's acting at the GCF again, right? The greatest common factor. These two match. This one and this one match. So they both multiply by the same thing. You're going to bring them into the front. Okay? Just like how you do the greatest common factor. Put them in the front like this. They both share the x minus 5. So therefore, you take out the x minus 5 from both terms. And then the remainder is y minus 2. So we're going to put y minus 2 into another factor. So this one, since it share x minus 5 already, it have y. This one is already share my x minus 5. So we bring that to minus 2. Okay, so we have just factored the four terms right here using factoring in pairs. Or in other words, grouping, factor by grouping. Okay, so you take out a GCF from each pair and then you group. Okay, you group the one that the same factor together, and then you take out whatever that doesn't share. Okay, next problem, we are going to take a look at this. X squared plus 4x minus x minus 4. All right, you can pause the video for a moment and work this one out. All right, I hope that you give this one a try. We are going to start with grouping the first two terms together like this. First pair, and this will be the second pair, right? Here we go. So for the first pair, we're going to look. X squared plus 4x. Wow, they both have x in common. So that means we can factor out the x. Yeah, we can factor out the x that they share. So you can factor out the x here, or you can divide both of them by x. Yeah, so easier to count up whatever left over. So here we go. We have parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, you were gonna write out whatever left over. So x squared over x give us x. 4x divided by x will give us positive 4. Done. With the first term, we're done. Now the second term, since this one is a minus or a subtraction between, we gotta factor out the negative as well. Okay? So let's factor out the negative on each of them. Here we have negative and negative. This one is 1x and this one have a minus 4. Well, they don't have anything in common. The only number that they can factor out is 1, right? So we can just write out a minus 1 like that. Okay, so you factor out the negative 1 from both of them. There we go. Let's write whatever left over inside a parenthesis. Negative x divided by negative 1 will give you positive x. So basically, if you divide by a negative number, Everything after changing the sign, okay? Negative 4 divided by negative 1. Since you divide the same sign, you get a positive. Here we go. As you can see, they both have x plus 4 in common. So this is the GCF again. They match, right? So you're going to write them one time. Outside like that. Write them one time. And then put the one that they don't share together. So here, since they already share x plus 4 on both, we have x minus 1. And we are done. And you can check again by doing distributive, okay? X times x will give us x squared. X times negative 1 will give us negative 1x. And then 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So it will give you exactly the same like this. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Again, if you want to pause the video and try it by yourself, I encourage you to do that. Yeah. Okay. So here, again, we have 4 terms. We're going to divide them in half. So the first pair have the first 2 terms. The second pair have the last 2 terms. Okay, so we're going to look at each of them. 6x squared plus 3x. Oh, just by saying it, you know the x have to be repeating, right? So we are going to go ahead and take out 1x from each. Then the 6 and the 3, 3 can go to 6 3 times and 3 go to 3. So we can also factor out the 3 from each. Okay, factor out the 3 from each. So now they both have 3x in common. Let's put 3x in the front. And then whatever they don't have in common, put them back inside the parenthesis. So let's go ahead and divide. We have 6x squared over 3x, give us 2x. And then right here, 3x over 3x, give us 1, positive 1. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing to the second pair. The signs stay the same, okay? Whatever sign between them stay the same. Here we have positive 20x, and here we have a 10. Well, 20 and 10, they both can divide by 10. So let's us go ahead and divide by 10. That means you factor out the 10, yeah? 10 is what they have in common. And then whatever they don't share, put them inside the parenthesis or the leftover. 20x divided by 10 will give us 2x. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So we have 2x plus 1. So now we see the 2x plus 1 match, right? They both share the 2x plus 1 as a factor, the common factor. So let's put the 2x plus 1 outside. And then we're going to group the other 2 that doesn't share. The 3x plus 10 together. Now we check if we can factor out any of these anymore. There's nothing they have in common. 3x plus 10, there's nothing they have in common again. So we have finished, okay? We have finished factoring these out. We're going to work on 2 more examples. This is the first one. X to the power of 3 minus 2x squared minus 9x minus 18. Okay, so we are having x to the power of 3 plus 2x. Let's group the first 2 together. And the last 2 together here. All right, so we have x to the power of 3 plus 2x squared. Well, they both have x, and the most they can share is x squared, right? So let's us go ahead and divide by x squared. In other words, you factor the x squared from each term. X squared go outside, and then when you divide, whatever left over is gonna be your, you put inside the parenthesis here. Okay, x to the power of 3 divided by x to the power of 2 give you x. 2x squared plus, 2x squared divided by x squared will just give us 2. That's it. Let's take a look at the next pair. We have negative 9x minus 18. Oh, we get it. If we have a negative in front, we must factor out the negative. Okay, here we go. Factor out the negative from each. All right, so 9 and 18. They both can divide by 9, don't they? Here we go. So factor out the 9 from each as well. So now we have negative 9 is a common factor. So let's write the negative 9 outside like this. And then group whatever that you got after you divide. Negative 9x divided by negative 9 will give us x. Negative 18 divided by negative 9 will give us positive 2. Ooh, and now we take a look at what we have here. This one and this one. So in other words, x plus 2 repeat on both of them. That means x plus 2 is the greatest common factor. And then we have whatever remaining, x squared minus 9. Let's check out this one. Can we factor anymore? Let's see. X plus 2. Nope, cannot break it apart anymore. What about this one? Hello, my old friend. X squared minus 9. X squared minus 9. Oh, this one is perfect square. This one also a perfect square. This is 3 times 3. This one is x times x. So we can certainly break this one apart one more time, isn't it? So we're going to have x minus 3 times x plus 3. There we go. And the x plus 2 cannot factor out anymore, so it stays there. The same thing. Okay? So this problem is similar to the previous questions. However, at the last step, you can still factor this, okay, into 2 other factors. So now we check each factor, each group. Nothing they have in common anymore. Nothing they have in common anymore. Nothing. Okay? So this is the final answer for this problem. The next question is going to be similar. Okay, we still have 4 terms to begin with. So why don't you pause the video for a second and work this one and try it out. Okay, I hope you gave it a try and you have found something that's successful because you are capable of doing this, right? Yes. X to the power 3 plus 4x squared. They both have x squared in common. Oh, and of course, don't forget to group them, okay? The first 2 and the last 2. There we go. So group them first. And then you factor out what they have in common. Here, x to the power 3, x to the power 2, they have x squared in common. Or x to the power 2. There's no number they can share. This is 1, this is 4. The only number that you can factor is 1. But there's no way of writing 1x, right? It's the same thing. And then whatever you left over from the dividing, put them in here. X to the power 3 divided by x squared will give you x. This one, x squared divided by x squared is nothing. And then we have the 4 in front, so plus 4. Second one, we're going to have negative 4x minus 16. Well, because it's starting with a negative, we got to factor out the negative. The 4 goes to negative 4. The 4 goes to 4 and 16. So we're going to factor out the negative 4. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to divide them up. Negative 4x divided by negative 4 will give us x. Negative 16 divided by negative 4 will give us positive 4. Again, we can group the x plus 4 together because they are repeating on both, right? You see, there's a common factor on both of them. So they match. We're going to put them outside into the front. Like that, they both gives out x plus 4. So the leftover, we have x squared minus 4. And then don't forget this last step right here, okay? That you have to check every factor and see if you can factor once more or that's the end of it. X plus 4, well, there's nothing repeat or they have in common. X squared minus 4. Because there's a subtraction between them. And this is the square. This one also a perfect square, isn't it? X squared minus 4. This one can be break it up into x times x. This one can be broken up into 2 times 2. And that's a negative. So we have 1 positive, 1 negative. Okay, x minus 2, x plus 2. And then originally we already have x plus 4. There we go. Again, when we get into this step, don't forget to check again on the last answer. X plus 4. Okay, everything is factored out. X minus 2. Everything is factored out. X plus 2 is done. Okay, so you factor out all of this. You can check x times x times x will all give you x to the power 3 or x cubed. Yeah, and all the numbers can give you the last number as well. So 4 times negative 2, that's negative 8. Times 2, that's negative 16. Yes. Okay, that's it. We are finished for today's lesson. Thank you for staying with us for the whole time. And remember, you can do this.